Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. This story I'm about to bring you is a mix of intrigue, drama, and a little bit of NFL chess. It involves a quarterback who, not too long ago, was considered one of the most reliable gunslingers in the league, Kirk Cousins. And yes, it's about potential trades, division rivalries, and what might be coming next for the Falcons, NFC South competitors. But hold on, because this isn't just about Cousins. It's about how his move, or maybe his lack of movement, could shake the entire division, including the Falcons' plans for the upcoming season. Let's start with a quick flashback. Kirk Cousins, drafted by Washington back in 2012, was a fourth-round pick, which in NFL terms isn't necessarily a guarantee of stardom. But Cousins defied the odds. At that time, the Redskins had already invested heavily in Robert Griffin III, who was seen as their franchise quarterback. But injuries and inconsistency hampered RGII, and Cousins stepped up, showing a lot of resilience and skill. Over the years, he became a reliable starter, making multiple Pro Bowls, passing for over 4,000 yards in 7 different seasons, something very few quarterbacks can claim. He's always been seen as a solid, if not elite, quarterback, someone who can get the job done, especially in the passing game. His career completion percentage hovers around 67%, which is quite impressive, and he's known for his durability and leadership. After his stint with Washington, he signed a big contract with the Minnesota Vikings, where he played for 6 seasons, making 3 Pro Bowls in the process. It was a lucrative deal, and for a time, he was seen as a key piece in Minnesota's offense. But then, things started to change. His final season in Minnesota was marred by injury, an Achilles tear, which is never easy for any player, especially a quarterback. And with age and injuries piling up, his future became a topic of debate. That's when Atlanta entered the picture. Last offseason, the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal, signaling a major commitment to him as their starting quarterback. Now, for fans of the Falcons, this move was initially seen as a big step forward. After all, the team was looking for stability at the position, and Cousins, with his experience and proven track record, seemed like the right guy to lead Atlanta into the playoffs and beyond. But here's where the plot thickens. Recent reports and rumors suggest that Cousins might not be entirely happy in Atlanta. According to insiders, Cousins feels he was misled when he signed with the Falcons last year. Rumors indicate that he was led to believe he'd be the unquestioned starter and the franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future. Yet, shortly after his arrival, the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr., a promising young quarterback out of Washington, who some believed could develop into a star. The fact that Atlanta took Penix so early in the draft surprised many, especially considering they had Cousins already signed and on the roster. Now, to add more fuel to the fire, last season, the Falcons unexpectedly benched Cousins at one point in favor of Penix. This move was seen as a clear signal that Atlanta was already looking beyond Cousins, perhaps in search of a younger, more dynamic quarterback who could grow with the team. For Cousins, this was a stark realization. His role wasn't as secure as he'd been led to believe, and his future with the Falcons might be more uncertain than he originally thought. So, what does this mean for the Falcons? Well, it opens up a whole new conversation about whether Atlanta might consider trading Cousins if the right opportunity arises. And interestingly, this isn't just speculation. It's something NFL analysts and insiders have been discussing heavily. Brent Sobolski of Bleacher Report recently highlighted the possibility that the Indianapolis Colts might be eyeing Cousins as a potential trade target. Why? Because the Colts are in a bit of a quarterback quandary themselves. The Colts, after trading away their franchise quarterback Andrew Luck in 2019, have been searching for stability at the position. They drafted Anthony Richardson in 2023, a highly touted quarterback out of Florida with the 4th overall pick. Richardson showed flashes of brilliance, but he also suffered injuries and inconsistency, which has left the team in a bit of a limbo. Meanwhile, they signed Daniel Jones as a free agent, but the competition for the starting spot is fierce. The Colts' general manager, Chris Ballard, and head coach Shane Steichen are under pressure to make the right call, especially given how crucial this season is for their future. The big question is, would it make sense for the Colts to go after Cousins? Well, Sobolski points out that Indianapolis might be running out of patience with Richardson, especially if he doesn't develop as quickly as hoped. Richardson, despite his incredible athleticism, is still raw, and his injury history raises red flags. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, has been inconsistent and has yet to prove he's a true franchise quarterback. So, bringing in Cousins, a seasoned veteran with a solid track record, could be seen as a smart move, at least in the short term, to stabilize the offense. But here's the catch: trading for Cousins wouldn't be cheap. He's under contract, and teams would likely have to surrender draft picks or other assets. Plus, at nearly 37 years old, Cousins isn't the long-term answer, but he's definitely a bridge quarterback who can provide leadership and stability while the Colts develop their young talent or scout future prospects. Now, considering the Falcons' perspective, if they're already looking to move Cousins, could the Colts be a good fit? Well, it's complicated. Atlanta invested heavily in Cousins last offseason, but their drafting of Penix and the benching of Cousins suggest they might be open to trading him if the right offer comes along. And for the Colts, acquiring Cousins could be a strategic move to contend immediately, especially if Richardson's development stalls or if injuries continue to hamper his progress. But let's not forget the bigger picture. The Falcons are in a rebuilding phase, but one that's focused on competing now. Their roster boasts some promising young players, like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a solid defensive core led by Grady Jarrett and rookie standout Bijan Robinson, the dynamic running back they drafted in the first round. The team's coaching staff, led by head coach Arthur Smith, is focused on creating a balanced attack that can keep defenses honest. The addition of Cousins last year was meant to accelerate their push into playoff contention, but the recent developments with Penix and the benching suggest that Atlanta might be shifting gears faster than expected. So, what does this all mean for the Falcons moving forward? Well, if Cousins is indeed on the trading block, the team might consider moving him for draft capital or a young player, especially if they believe Penix can develop into their future franchise quarterback. It's a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they want to compete now, but on the other, they need to develop their young talent for long-term success. And let's talk about the big picture here. The NFC South has been historically unpredictable, with teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and New Orleans Saints all in various stages of rebuild or retooling. The Falcons, under Arthur Smith, are looking to cement themselves as the division's top team, but they face stiff competition. The recent rise of teams like the Saints with Derek Carr and the Panthers with Bryce Young adds more spice to the division. The Falcons' ability to adapt, whether through trades, draft picks, or internal development, will be crucial in determining if they can finally end their playoff drought and aim for a deep postseason run. And speaking of deep postseason runs, Falcons fans are eager to see how their team can evolve. The 2023 season was a roller coaster, some moments of brilliance mixed with inconsistency. The defense showed flashes of being elite, especially with young stars like A.J. Terrell and Grady Jarrett, but the offense sometimes struggled to keep pace, especially in the red zone. The addition of Bijan Robinson was a huge boost, giving Atlanta a legitimate game-changer in the backfield, but they still need their quarterback to step up and lead consistently. That's why the quarterback situation remains the biggest storyline. Will Penix develop into the franchise leader they hope? Or will Atlanta pivot and try to bring in a veteran like Cousins? Or, alternatively, will they stick with their current plan, trusting their young guys to grow into the roles? These questions will define the Falcons' season and perhaps their future for years to come. Now, circling back to the division rivals, the NFC South has become a fascinating battleground. The Saints bringing in Derek Carr was a smart move to add experience. The Panthers are in rebuilding mode with Bryce Young, hoping their young quarterback can develop quickly. The Buccaneers, with Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, are trying to find stability after Tom Brady's departure. Amidst all this, the Falcons are positioning themselves to be the team to beat, but the uncertainties at quarterback could be the difference between a playoff appearance and an early exit. And this whole scenario with Kirk Cousins is just the tip of the iceberg. It illustrates how fluid NFL rosters are, especially at the quarterback position, which is so vital to success. The possibility of Cousins moving to Indianapolis or maybe even another team like the Jets or the Vikings, if they decide to reacquire him, adds layers of intrigue. But for the Falcons, it's about their own path. They have a talented roster, a strong defense, and some promising young players. But they still need stability at quarterback, and that's why they might be keeping a close eye on the Cousins situation. In the end, what's most exciting about all of this is the unpredictability. The NFL is a league where any team can turn things around quickly with the right moves. The Falcons, with their resources and talent, have a real shot at making a splash this season. Whether that includes trading for a veteran like Cousins or trusting their young guns, it will be fascinating to watch how everything unfolds in the coming months. The NFC South is about to heat up again, and the Falcons are right at the center of it, ready to make their move. So, Falcons fans, stay tuned because the offseason is never dull. Big moves could be coming, and your team might be at the heart of it. Remember, the NFL offseason is where dreams are made and broken, and right now, the Falcons are in a prime position to shake things up. Keep your eyes peeled because the next chapter in Atlanta's story might be written sooner than you think, and it could define the team's future for years to come. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news.